Hey guys, welcome back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Tonight I have Mr. Andrew Belay helping out with any questions, concerns. Andrew, are you with us?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming in. I'm honored. This is my first one. I was so excited I forgot to type out the rest of my last name there. Slice.
There you go.
I have an alias now, but.
And Andrew, you're sales manager for kind of the East Coast?
Yeah, the Northeast. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So for those of you guys that don't know Andrew, a little introduction there for you guys. For those of you guys that are new, I see a couple new names in here. What we do is we use GoToWebinar to do these night classes, and so everybody is currently on mute, and that's just to eliminate any background noise. And if you guys do have a question, definitely there is a questions panel in the GoToWebinar. Go ahead and type them in there, and then Andrew will ping me and let me know what the question is, and we'll answer it right on the spot for you guys. So, and for those of you guys that are new, again, these classes are solely dedicated just for you guys. So basically, you guys just tell me what you want to see, and we will do a teaching subject on it, and we'll even send you some SolidCAM swag. So if you guys do have ideas, send those over to me via email. And I did get one from Norman. Let's see, is he on with us tonight? Yep, Norman. So Norman will be sending you some SolidCAM swag. I put the order in today, so should be getting it shortly. And he would like to see a head-head 5-axis machine. So we'll actually be doing that tonight using a head-head 5-axis router tonight to do our multi-axis roughing. So, and then, let me do this for you guys too, is I'm going to put my email address into the chat dialog for everybody. So everybody should have my email address now. So definitely shoot those ideas over to me. Now, each one of these classes is being recorded for you guys. So if you guys come over to YouTube, and if I can find my YouTube here, there it is. Started up a channel about a year ago, and adding videos on here as many as possible, and each night class is being recorded. So like I said, come check it out here. Great database of information in here, live cuts down to how to do everything inside the software. So, and just slowly working our way through there, doing some product reviews every once in a while for you guys. So you guys can help out with the CAD/CAM side of things. So definitely a great place to check it out, and I will put a link to that video for you guys also in the chat. And definitely come here and subscribe so you can see all the new videos that we update in here. So, but I guess with that being said, let's dive into the multi-axis roughing. So multi-axis roughing is kind of a niche, I guess, for the 5-axis side of things. And the multi-axis is more or less just for doing pocketing in a 5-axis environment. So you'll see we have a pretty radical aerospace part right here. And what we want to do is, to do this part, normally we would have to kind of separate everything off, and we're not going to be able to contour to that floor in the wall surface or the ceiling. It's just going to be straight lines going across and machining that out. So to actually get down in there and get a good roughing 5-axis cut and getting that material out of there, we're going to want to use our multi-axis roughing. Now, like I said, there's a couple different options in there, and it's pretty simple to use. But like I said, it's kind of a niche area. Personally, I haven't used it very much in the 5-axis side of things, just because it kind of takes, like I said, just kind of that special part that might take it. So a lot of those aerospace parts, or if you guys are looking at doing a bunch of pocketing on, a curved surface, this is where it's really going to shine for you guys here. So now the curvature doesn't matter. The sidewalls don't matter either, but we do need to have a floor and sidewalls for this tool path to work. So like I said, kind of just more or less for the pocketing side of things. So, but I guess with that being said, I got this part kind of roughed out. So we just did some 3D machining, some HSM, and I'm just going to simulate the swarf machining here. And we're going to get to swarf machining in the next couple classes here, but I want to show you guys kind of what we're starting off with here on the machine sim, and then you can kind of see where we're going to take it off from here. So I'm going to load up this machine sim here. Now this head 5-axis machine that we're using is fairly large, so it does take just a hair longer to pull up the machine sim. But all right, now we're getting everything loaded up in here. Okay, and Norm, is this the machine sim that you were kind of looking for? Let's see if he pops in here. But okay, so just got this bolted down to a a big table here, kind of using kind of like a 5-axis router here. But now we're not using a trunnion to do the 5-axis. We're going to be using this head here. So if we just go ahead and play this through here, just kind of going around the outside perimeter, getting everything machined off. So you can kind of see where we left off here. Let me kind of zoom in here. And we just got everything roughed out. So everything but those pockets inside the center there. I can speed this up just a little bit here.
Hey, Kevin, looks like Norm has a question. Or just, I guess, answering your question.
Oh, yep.
Yes, very, very similar to ours.
Perfect.
Thanks, Norm.
Yeah. Norm, do you have a machine sim for that machine? I got your post that you sent me, or I got the post from the posting, but didn't have a machine sim on file for you. So I guess if you do, Norm, definitely send that over to me in an email, and then we can actually use your machine. Not next week, because Justin's going to be doing a pretty sweet impeller, but the week after that. Yes, I do. Perfect. Yeah, send that over to me, Norman. We'll get that put in here too. So, all right. So here's kind of where we left off. We have everything basically done all the way around the outside of this goofy part here. Started off with a big block here, but now we need to get in there and rough out these pockets in here. So go ahead and exit out of here, and we'll go ahead and grab our multi-axis roughing. So we only have one option. It's radial roughing right here. So we can hop down to our geometry. Now we have a couple different strategies here. We can use offset, which is going to do kind of like a pocket style, where it starts in the center and just kind of works its way out. Or we can do adaptive, which is going to do a spiral. So two different kind of tool paths that we can pick from right there. Now, one other thing is we can do a offset from floor. So what it's going to do is the tool path is going to follow the curvature of that floor. Or we can do offset from ceiling. So it's going to grab the curvature from the ceiling and work its way around that part. Or we can do kind of like a morph between boundary curves between the floor and the ceiling. And what it's going to do is it's going to kind of like we were talking about with 5-axis morph between boundary curves. It's going to take the top and the floor, and it's going to merge them together here. So at the top, we're running flat, but then when it gets down to the curvature, it's automatically going to start curving around there. So, but for this one, we'll just do a offset from floor, and basically just what floors do I want to work on. So we can go ahead and grab these 4 floors here. Oop. So those are the 4 floors that I want to work on. And now the wall surface. Now, I already went through and grabbed the wall, but here I'll show you. Grabbed pretty much all the walls that I could here. Now, one thing is, and actually I'm going to be going to development with this, but you guys, when we did the HSS and the check surfaces, there's that button over here where you can say all adjacent surfaces. I'm going to see if they can add that in for us here. I think that would really help out because, you know, when you're working on the multi-axis roughing here, pretty much anything adjacent to that surface is what we want to use as our wall, since we're using pocketing. So I'm going to see if I can get that added in there and save a little bit of click time for you guys. But so that's the floor surface, the wall surface. Now in this one, since we're not, we're just doing offset from floor here, I don't even need to pick anything on the ceiling surface. And we'll do a 0.5 millimeter floor and a 0.5 millimeter for the wall surface there. So we got something to come up and clean up here. And we can go ahead and grab our tool. And we'll grab this 10 millimeter end mill here. Levels, not much in here. Pretty much everything's kind of locked down. The only thing you really have in here is retreat distance, your safety distance, and exit distance, so you can change those around a little bit. Advanced, nothing we can even pick in here. Constraint boundaries. Where do you want to constrain it to? Now, a lot of times, depending on what you're doing, but, for this particular one, since I'm wanting to do this entire area, I can just leave it on automatic. But if you guys wanted to, just like HSM, you can come in here and do manual and do a chain around anything that you want to kind of constrain it to a specific area. So kind of a little bit of a HSM in there for you guys. Now, when we get into the guts of things, right here is your step down and your step over. So for this particular part, let's just do a step down of, let's do 5 millimeters, and the step over of, let's go 4 millimeters here. So that is your step down, step over. Now you'll see right here, over here, we're grayed out. And we don't have that option to change those right now. And that's just because the geometry you picked was offset from floor, but if we switch, or I'm sorry, the strategy is what determines that. So when we switch this over to do the adaptive or the spiral, these options will actually open up for you. So, all right. So and if we go to sorting here, we can do zigzag, climb mill. We can do machine by levels or regions here. Smoothing is just kind of, this portion right here is, the default works very well, but basically, do you want to have smooth corners, or we're going to do the sharp 90-degree corners? And same thing with the final cut. And then, if you want to do smoothing between the links. So as we're going from one pass to another pass, it's going to do a little bit of an S curve right there. Going into the part there. So, and you can change up those percentages there. Now, the filtering right here is basically, you can filter out if you had a hole inside there. So the toolpath isn't going down inside there. And, you can pick inscribed circle. And what the inscribed circle is going to do is automatically creates a inscribed circle to prevent the tool from entering at extremely tight areas of the geometry. So if it's just, we're using a 10 millimeter end mill here and we have 11 millimeter hole, that's going to pretty much stop it from going in there. And then also we can do the diagonal length here. And what it does, it creates a bounding box with a specified diagonal length around the geometry, prevent the tool from entering the tight areas also. So a couple different options for filtering out stuff. With this part here, we don't have any circles or anything like that, so I really don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Stock. Now our stock right here is kind of like our HSS. It's going to eliminate all the air cuts. So what we can do is we can say respect the stock model, and it's only going to cut within that stock. For this path that we're actually doing, well, not on this path, on this part here, but on a different part I was kind of playing around with. I had a tool path kind of coming way up above the part. So by turning on the respect stock is basically keep it contained to only cutting the stock, and we're not doing any air cutting. And then rest rough, just we're coming in here right now with a 10 millimeter, and we just do a save and copy and change that over to a 5 millimeter end mill, just your same rest that you've had all along. So now the link is a little bit different than kind of what we've been working 5-axis. Usually we have the link section where we can do direct and all that stuff, and we have that in here, but we also have our ramping. So, for this one right here, if I wanted to switch it from a ramp type, it's set to automatic. So it's automatically going to figure out the best one, but we can do a line, helical, zigzag profile. Personally, I like to use the helical there. Nice entering into the material there. Approach and retreat here is, you know, do you want to kind of lead in, lead off on that first entry point? And then here is between your slices and all that stuff. So we can do retract distance. And what I like to do with these is when it's kind of going between groups, I want it to retract, obviously, so I don't plow through my wall. What I'm talking about is like when it's working from this section and then coming over to this section, obviously I want to come up to the clearance. But what I want to do is use a ramp going in there. And then same thing between my slices. Since it's going direct, I like to go back up to the, the rapid, and then I can use my ramp, and same thing between regions here. So if we do, yep, and we can use ramp right there. So one other thing I wanted to mention too is your surface quality. These are set actually quite tight. What I notice is with the cut tolerance, since we're roughing, the cut tolerance really isn't that important. If you think about it, we're leaving, 5 millimeters on the wall, 5 millimeters on the floor. So you guys can open this up. Now, like I said, on this part, we're working a metric here, so I'll just do a 0.1 millimeter. And that's going to save you the saving calculation time too, to kind of speed up things. So let's just go ahead, and I think I got everything covered here. Machine controls is your, all your 5-axis stuff here. This is what's in the same in pretty much every operation inside SolidCAM, and same thing with the miscellaneous parameters. So I guess with that being said, let's get some toolpath on here. Now, unfortunately, my computer may just be a little bit slower right now because we just finished doing a live iMachine cut literally 20 minutes ago, and it's still rendering out the video. So just may take a few minutes or a few seconds longer here. But any questions with what we kind of covered here so far? Like I said, this one's a little bit more of a niche kind of area, but works very well. Okay, so you can kind of see our toolpath. I'm kind of get a little side view here. Our toolpath is following the exact curvature of that floor going all the way around there. To get a little bit better picture here, let's just do a simulate, and we'll start off with solid verify first. Get our updated stock going here. Come on. Boy, that video rendering is really bogging down my computer right now. Okay. So we got our part in there, and here, these are just the pieces that were left over, and if I want, I can come in here. I think it's this guy. No, that's my fixture. And I can, there we go, get rid of that those slugs that would have fallen off there. But all right, let's play this through here, and we can speed it up here. So you can kind of see the tool is following the curvature of everything that's going on there. Oh, and one thing I'm noticing here, so you'll see I didn't go down to the full depth. So what it's doing is it's coming over and doing each pocket at that level, moving over. Let me just stop this for a second, and let's get that fixed. So if we go to toolpath param, let's see, where do they hide that at again? Toolpath parameters, sorting. And I'm going to go by region. So what that means is it's going to work on one pocket, get it all the way down to size, and then once it's finished off in that one pocket, then it's going to move over to the next pocket. go. I'm going to simulate this here. Do solid verify again. And I'm going to bump up, or let's do every 50 lines of code here. So now we're kind of staying within that one pocket, and then it will bounce over to that next pocket here. Now, one thing that I found is, I guess, little bit you don't have much control on is where it goes from the pockets. Even, I think I picked over here starting on this pocket when I click those faces, but it really, it's out of our hands on where it goes. I think it just kind of goes by the fastest route possible when you do by, instead of regions by lanes. But let's stop this and let's hop over to Machine Sim. And show you guys how that head is moving around in there. And if you guys do have a machine sim that you guys would like to see me use in the night class, send those over to me, and I'll show you once this gets done simulating or simulating through here how to send that with the machine sim file. All right, get everything loaded up here. All right, let's get zoomed in here. And slow it down a little bit here. You can see the head really working its way around in there. And then each time it's going down in a level.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a question and then a follow-up from Ben. Can you see that, or you want me to ask it to you? Can you make a smaller hole and then enlarge? Yeah, I don't know if that's easier there.
Yeah, let me, okay.
But I can't machine. I can't even be trusted to read the questions. That's how little I know about what I'm watching here, guys. So I'm learning a lot.
Okay, so can you make a smart, Ben, are you talking like do a pilot hole, and then so it approaches in from the pilot hole? Let me check here. Once this gets done playing through, I don't think so. It's not like, but I guess I haven't really played with that portion of it, but let me see if we have the option for that. Can I give you a different view here, you guys? And is everybody able to see that machine sim working? What are you saying, Andrew? You couldn't program this part?
I could do it in my sleep. It wouldn't look like that, but I could definitely do something. Yeah, this is no.
And then for those of you guys that don't know, both Andrew and myself have very young kids, so we don't get sleep period as it is. All right, so.
Yeah, that's probably what I should do with my nights. Instead of even just pretending that, like, maybe I'll get some sleep, I'll just maybe I'll just go through and just take all your classes. So.
Yeah, there you go.
We got another question or follow-up from Ben.
All right. The reason I was asking was to use more of the tool length for roughing. Yeah. Let me hop out of here. And so if we go down to the toolpath and surface quality, I can take a larger step right here, but let's get into the link here and the ramping. Now, I guess I don't have a hole in here, but I don't see any option. But let me tell you what, Ben. Let's see, was it Ben? Yeah, Ben. Let me do some digging on that and see if that's a possibility. That if we can start off with a pilot hole, that way we're not wasting the time doing a helical entry going down in there for you guys. So, but any other questions on this particular toolpath? And great question, Ben, too, by the way. All right. So now we have
got a couple here. Hang on. We got.
No, I think we're good here.
Oh, that's it. Sorry, false alarm.
Okay, maybe I can come down to Atlanta and see what we can do. Oh, absolutely, Ben. Come down to and Ken will get you all straightened out. Yeah, that's true. Ronnie just put in there that you know, if I turn on the respec stock, that it should just drop down. But like I said, that's something I guess I didn't test out ahead of time, and unfortunately, this is not one that I guess gets used too often. So I'll definitely. But it's a great point. If I come on over to my toolpath parameters and come to the stock, if I turn on my stock, and it should see that that hole is already previously done there, that it should not machine any air dropping down in there. So definitely I'll get that back to you, Ben. And Ben, just before, let me just make sure I have your email address. Okay. Yep. And maybe Ben, if you could just go ahead and shoot that over to me in an email too, because unfortunately when I shut down the GoToWebinar, I lose all the questions that come through. So, and Ben, you should have my email address in the chat. So, and I'll definitely check that out for you. And I'll send that to you, Ronnie, as well. But okay, so now we have the center completely roughed out. Now what I can do is kind of use this as a finishing toolpath too. So what I'll do here is I'm just open up this operation, and I'm just going to do a save and copy here. And our geometry is going to be the same, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to adaptive and show you guys the spiral and finish off the floor, I guess. So what I'll do is I'll take off my floor finish, or my stock to leave on the floor. And then the only other thing I want to change up here is my surface quality. So since I'm just, you know, I have everything pretty much roughed out here, I can take this all in one step and just come down, because I just had that 0.5 millimeter left over. So what I can do is, instead of doing by distance, I can do by number of slices, and I can change this just to do it in basically slices. Think of it as cuts by number of cuts. So, you know, when we do 5-axis, you guys have the option to do a limit by number of cuts. That's basically kind of what I'm telling it to do right here. Now, you guys also see that since I switched over to adaptive, I get a little bit more options here right here. So, and I'm going to leave everything kind of as default, but you know, you can do a desired step over. So right now we're doing, you know, a maximum of 4 millimeter step down, or a step over, but you know, I can put a desired number in there and, you know, get a little bit tighter of where I'm going. So, and then, you know, I can change up my climb step over. So if I want to change it up to 50% on the climb, or, you know, leave it at, you know, 100% and do 50% for conventional cutting. So definitely have that option right there. And then our adaptive clearing is pretty much the same thing it's been through like HSM, where you can add in additional steps and stuff like that. So pretty much all the same options are still here. No ever stock, arrest. Same thing with the linking. You know, you can do a helical entry in. Same thing with your approach and your links. So I guess with that being said, we can just do a save and calculate here, and let me just, yep, just do a save and calculate. Now, one thing I notice as, like I said, we're kind of doing a roughing strategy here more than anything, but this one, I guess we can kind of consider a finishing, but that cut tolerance, and I was kind of playing around with it to kind of see where is the sweet spot here. Now, I can set this down to, 0.01 millimeters, which is pretty tight, but what I noticed is I'm getting quite a bit longer G code and quite a bit longer saving calculation time, but I'm getting the same surface quality as before when I had a smaller versus larger. So definitely feel free to increase that cut tolerance there for you guys, and you're going to get the same results. So
Ben had mentioned here, you'll read it here about the tool. You got to watch out so the tool doesn't load up when plunging.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely. We've had that scenario. We were actually doing a live cut with that scenario and doing a little bit. We're doing a helical ramp in there, but it was almost a plunge cutting. And for those guys that haven't seen, I did a video. Let's see. It's a pretty cool one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It was using that Goering diver tool. It must be up here.
For the record, Ben, I thought the same thing when I was watching that.
Right here is that Goering diver tool. What actually happened is we were actually doing a live cut, and we used the same angles and approaches for that Goering diver tool versus just a regular flat end mill, and we actually loaded up that end mill as it was kind of coming down. So definitely a great point there. Okay, so now you can kind of see coming in here, doing a nice spiral, working our way down, starting in what it thinks is a good spot, and just doing a spiral, working its way around. As it gets to where it can't spiral or morph anymore, kind of does like die machining, doing the desot trochoidal, kind of working its way around. The only difference here is it's not picking up as it comes around here. It's just kind of race tracking around. So if we go and play this through, let's try solid verify first here and show you guys. Get everything updated. And as I'm going through these parts too, I had a couple customers or a couple of you guys last week asked for the parts that I was using, and definitely I have all the parts. I started saving all of them after I think we got into the 3D portion of it. So if you guys do want to play around with these parts, definitely let me know. All right, should be, here we go.
We got, rather than a spiral, can you follow the form right? From Ben.
Let's see, spiral, can you form right? Can you give me a little bit more explanation there, Ben? I guess I'm not sure what you mean by form right. Right. I guess, Ben, you have me a little a little confused. Oh, kind of following the rectangle surface. Yeah, that would be more or less a diagonal kind of coming in, and yeah, we can definitely play around with that real quick here. I'll go ahead and play this through here, and let me get rid of that tool holder so we can kind of see what's going on here. Doing a zigzag, going back and forth, and pretty much just cleaning up that floor is basically all we're kind of achieving here, and doing a spiral for the most part of it, or morphing, I guess you want to call. Then when it gets to the walls, switches over to that morphing spiral, or I'm sorry, T-slot tricoidal movement. There we go. And if we want, let's go ahead and play this through machine sim real quick so we can kind of watch our head rotating around. Like I said, something with this, I don't know if it's such a large machine, why it takes so long to load up here, but we'll blame that one on Norm. He wanted to see a head rotation, so just kidding, Norm. Okay. So let's kind of get positioned in here, and we'll slow this down a little bit. And basically what it's doing is it's keeping that tooltip orthogonal to each cutting position. Now I know we talked a lot about, that with the 5-axis last time, but pretty much keeping working on that tip. We don't have the option to work more on the side, using that lead leg angle and side tilt angle, like what we did before. So, this will get you a pretty decent finish, but if you're looking for that perfect finish, definitely we want to use, a different strategy, one of our 5-axis ones that we were kind of talking about for the last couple weeks here, or actually a month and a half. So we can tip over, and instead of using the tip of that ball, we can actually use the side of that ball a little bit, but just kind of getting in there and working its way around here. Speed up just a little bit for you. Now let me ask you guys this. Have you guys ever ran across a part like this before? Anybody? It's pretty gnarly part here, and my dad does a lot of work for Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and he said they see parts like this every once in a while, but it's like they took it and it was flat and they just twisted it. But so there we go. Kind of finishing off the floor there. And now to answer your question, Ben, let's see, we were going to, where did I go here? Ramping.
Got a couple questions there, Kevin.
Okay. So we got line right here, and let me just do a save and calculate. Let's see, line ramp angle must be greater than 90 degrees. Oh, so let's do a ramp angle of 100 here. Oh. Okay, I'm a little confused here. Ramp angle and adaptive roughing must be equal to 90 degrees. But when I had 90 in there, I didn't like it. All right, well, this is calculating. No, my last CNC 4X machine was in 1985. Ben, we were barely even born back then. I hate to say it, but no. So Ben, are you currently using 5-axis right now, or 5-axis machine, or? Okay. All right. So if we go line, and let me not doing much of a, looks like almost a straight plunge when we use line. Let's try. If we do a profile, I wonder if it will follow it should follow the profile. Must be automatic line. Okay, so let's go to helical, or let's just exit. And since we are using it's telling us profile now. Now, everybody that's here this week, make sure you're in next week's, because it should be a good class with Justin in here. All right, so let's take a peek and see. So yes, it is. Let me kind of get this top view down here. It is following. I'm just looking at this one yellow line right here. So it is following the curvature going down into the material that way. So we're coming straight down, comes right above the material, and then does follow the contour of that profile going into that material. So to answer your question there, Ben, yep, it can be done. So, but any other questions, guys? I guess that's kind of all I really have for tonight. I know there's a lot here, but you know, it's pretty simple. Like I said, you don't have a whole lot of options with strategies, but you can do the offset or the adaptive, and then pretty much, you know, do you want it to follow it from the floor? Do you want to follow it kind of from the ceiling, or do you want to kind of find that middle point? And you know, if we got a flat top and then a curved surface bottom or a floor here, kind of slowly, gradually working in. So. All right, any questions, guys? And thank you, Ben, for that comment. Said any class is a good class. Appreciate those. All right, so I guess if nobody else has any questions, we can kind of wrap it up here. For those that would like to know about that, using a hole, a pre-drill hole, shoot those over to me, email, and I'll send those over to you tomorrow. And I'll dive a little bit deeper in here for you guys and see what we can do as a, you know, instead of doing in our linking, and if we can just do a, you know, a straight line down, and it will just automatically drop in there with a pre-drill hole. So, but I guess with that being said, Andrew, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, man, I'm good. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, guys, for showing up.
Yeah, absolutely, guys, and definitely, you know, like I've been saying all summer, you know, I know there's could be better things you guys can be doing outside, or you know, when it's nice and warm out. Well, I guess for me it's a little different, because Minnesota, it's like we only get, you know, 2 months out of the year where it's nice and warm out, and then the rest of the months it's frozen everywhere. So.
Yeah, you really can't blink too long. I'm with you. I'm in Pennsylvania. So.
Yep.
Live it up while you can.
Yep. But definitely. Go ahead.
Got a question here from Norm. Were you going to show us how to send a machine, or how to do?
Oh yeah.
Send machine sim.
Yeah.
Thanks,
great.
Norm.
Yeah. Forgot about that. Okay, so for those of you guys that want to see your machine sim, send those over to me. I'd love to show you know, the machine sims off. So right click on CAM part, and I guess first thing what you want to do is to make the file just a little bit smaller, and you don't really need to throw any tool path on there. If you guys just pick your post, and you know that that one has the machine sim, you can just send me just no toolpath with just a part on there, and I won't even use a part. But what that does is if I come down here, you can do a cleanup cam part if you do have some toolpath on there. This will eliminate all, any G code that's kind of stored up and behind the scenes or stock and all that stuff. So you can just do a select all, hit OK. It's going to remove all that unnecessary stuff that wasn't being used. And then what you can do is do a send to and click folder and use the including machine sim. Now you'll get a dialog pops up like this. It says package for technical support or end user, and do technical support because I need all the goodies inside there. So send that, and definitely you guys send those over to me, and I'll start using your guys' machine sim. And the more that we can kind of show each, especially, I mean, we have a bunch of people in the class here. If I get all your guys' machine sim, I can, throughout the 5-axis, I can show each one of your guys' machine sim on different parts. So definitely send those over to me and get those applied in there right away. And like I said, next week, Justin is coming in, and we're going to do somewhat a 5-axis. I'm kind of more on the simultaneous 5-axis milling wrap up, and then Justin's going to do some live programming in front of you guys on impeller using some different shape tools, some different strategies, some areas that he's kind of found out that kind of helps, out in certain areas, kind of tips and tricks and whatnot. And then after that, we're basically kind of working down our list right here. So tonight we did our multi-axis. Like I said, next week's Justin, and then we'll get into swarf, doing some multi-axis drilling, contour 5-axis, 3 to 5-axis convert from HSM. That's a really cool one. And then rotary machining. And then do you guys have, I guess we have quite a large crowd now. Do you guys have any interest in the port machining? I know the port machining is an additional module on there, but I'll love to show you guys it. But if you guys don't have it or don't care to see it, we won't bother covering it. Then if anybody wants to pipe in and say, yes, I want to see it, or no, don't bother with it. Okay, got a couple yeses, couple no's in there. Sure. Okay. Getting a lot of people saying yeses, so I guess we'll definitely cover that port machining, and more importantly, definitely the multi-blade machining. Now, these 2 modules are additional modules onto the 5-axis, but definitely we'll show those and go from there, and then start getting into a lot of your guys' ideas too. So great. Like I said, appreciate the time tonight, guys, and sending those ideas. Love getting those ideas and feedback from you guys. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. For those of you guys that don't have, these guys that are watching this on YouTube right now, my email address will be in the description of the video. And then for those guys that want to just call in, our number is 866-975-1115 extension 2, and that will ring to either myself, Justin, Mark, Scott, Ken, Greg Payton, let's see, who else am I missing here? Paul Johnson, all of our frontline guys, and we'll grab that phone call for you. So I guess that being said, thanks again, guys, and this will be up on YouTube in a few hours here, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, guys, have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kevin. See you guys.
Yeah.